Remember to end it.
Pardon?
Remember to end it when you're done.
Oh, yes, I shall. Okay, so I hope you're all right. As we wait for the rest to join in, I remember last week we had a very interactive session of question and answer. So for all those who could tell you a thing or two. Enough. Actually, I think I sent it yesterday or two, I think very early in the morning. So for all those who saw the material and read, we shall have to coordinate because it's a very short lesson and yet the passage is slightly long. Today, I'm interested in introducing section B, and I'm beginning with the passage. I briefly want to talk about one thing, or not one thing, but a number of things about section B. Section B, number 5, is logic, and I'm sure you know that. In that area, you are given passages, there's calculation, but these days they give you chance to also attempt at least the semi-essay questions from around Roman 3 or so. They can give you from C, they can give you maybe questions that are regarding the topic. For example, if you're calculating a number of patients, or if the topic is under maybe coronavirus or something, they will always ask you things like causes, effects, how it has affected the community, such things. So we usually ask that such questions in section B should not be left, because you realize there are over 20 marks that you get from such a section. So it is very fine. Anyone can do logic. I hope you can hear me. Can I get at least someone confirming that they can hear me?
Yes, you
yes,
can.
can hear.
Yes,
You can.
Oh, confirm.
Okay. So
Yeah, we
this
can
is
hear you.
all right. This is where I come in to tell you that anyone can do number 5, the logic number. And I encourage actually students to do number 5 if it has the semi-essay, where they ask you things like causes and effects, if it's a pandemic, or things to do with anything that the topic, if you're familiar, if that topic is familiar to you. So you can do number 6. Other people keep asking, who should do number 6? When we were studying, they used to tell us, if you're a student of science subjects, yours is number 5. And for you, if you're history, English, yours is number 1. And then, number 5, until you name 2012, where the history students knew the year when World War I was there, and the science students did not know. So for you to start the calculation, you needed to know the year that World War I started. So there was a lot of controversy. So I encourage us to try all numbers equally. However, my interest today is section B, and number 6. That is the passage or comprehension. Comprehension is an extension of your English, both paper 1 and paper 2, because comprehension is reading and understanding, and we also require that you're going to do more of summary writing. So it is also still there. So you have continued doing your English up to this level. So that means we shall still refer to the grammar rules. So I will ask at this point, did anyone read the passage? Yes, students? Did anyone? Okay, accidentally, did anyone read the passage? Maybe you woke up too late, but I sent the passage in the group. And also, I think I uploaded it in our Google Classroom. Now I'm confused. Are you getting me, or I've muted myself? Okay, Gal Daniels, you read the passage? Gal Daniel? Only girl Daniel read the passage. Then we're in trouble because the passage is a bit long. Let's dive into it straight away. Girl Daniel, your hand is up. You want to say something? Okay. Sims's hand is just up. Proceed. Stop sharing your screen.
Babera basomera ku computer.
Very quickly, I thought you students would have read that passage so that when we come here, it's just to discuss. However, I'm realizing some of you have not even read that passage. It's unfortunate that we have not read the passage. Let me see here. GP week 4. Can I have someone to read for us the passage? By show of hands. Finance. That is funny. All of you as a group. Okay, we shall share that information with you. The codes that are used when you want to dive into both maybe the Google Classroom and the group. There are those codes that we usually use. My network is a bit jamming, but I'm trying to join us to the passage. Someone is saying that I did not post the work in the group. I don't think that's true. That work in the group, unless I posted in another group. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm very sure I posted that work in our groups. You just check and you'll be able to see. In fact, if this one is refusing, I'm most likely to use the one in the group because this one network is jamming. Network is jamming. Let me see if I can get it even from your WhatsApp group so that the person who is claiming it's actually the only and the last message that I shared there, and someone is saying we have not seen. Here, the other one has refused, so let us use this one. Okay, can start off so that we chase after time. This class. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hearing you, but breaking. And even you cannot see your screen.
Okay. But I've just shared my screen.
We are not getting it.
The network is very poor and we can't hear you.
They said it was refusing due to network, but this one has allowed. Maybe you just. You're not.
Yes, it has allowed, but we are not seeing it.
What am I going to do? I'm trying to look for another spot in the house, but it's jamming straight up. Are you able to see the screen now?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. We are seeing.
Not everyone. I think let us have those who can see at least, because we have many who are seeing. If you can see, let me pick a gentleman and a lady to read for us so that we begin our discussion.
Yeah, I can see the
Okay, then you start to read for us. If you had read this work in your group, would have made it very easy for us to discuss. I sent the work, I think even at 4 in the morning or so. Okay, can someone read for us?
something is on top of the work, please. It's called online class. S2. Please first remove that so that I can see the behind part.
Okay.
Is it like a message? I can't see the behind part.
Sharing my Google Drive is not opening. I think network is really bad, but let me try opening again from Google Drive, and then we can be able to read it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see something now?
No. Yes.
Now we can see the now.
Yes, sir.
We can see.
Yeah, I'm seeing them.
Now it's okay. Okay, these things are unavoidable. So let me have a Marot and then a lady.
So I'm not yet seeing the screen clear.
Okay, so I'm going to have a lady and Vivi. I hope Vivi is a girl. That's a gentleman who says,
Yes.
Vivian, are you seeing the screen? Okay,
no,
start reading.
So we are not seeing the screen.
Teacher, unless I read from my WPS, because I can't see your screen.
Oh, come on, it's displaying.
Teacher, I can read from my, I don't know.
It's okay.
So I think I can read it now because I'm seeing the screen.
It's now showing.
Now you're seeing this.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm seeing the
Sometimes
screen.
it's just network delays. Okay.
Yes.
Let me have Emma Road start, then Vivian. Vivian, let's wait for him to read, then you read for us the second time.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Read the following passage and answer the questions that follow using your own words wherever possible. We have already considered some common strategies to use or neutralize ethnicity and build the economic power of the politically powerful. But governing is a more complex process than this. Rulers must motivate bureaucrats to implement laws and policies, and citizens to act in accordance with authoritative decisions. How can a government elite obtain this double compliance in weakly integrated, poverty-stricken, peasant societies? A strong state is one that can count or willing compliance. A ruler's desire, legitimacy, the conviction among bureaucrats and citizens that they are under obligation to obey those occupying certain authority positions. Relatively few governments, however, achieve a firm moral basis for their role. If legitimacy is fragile, willing compliance must drive from moral basis for their role. So I'm now not seeing the other part of the screen. Hello.
Hello. I don't know. My network is dancing. Please. Okay, someone was sharing the screen, thank you. But your words are now very small.
It's a bit clear.
It's okay, it's clear.
It's clear, sir.
Who was reading? Dennis Musmenta, you could make me the host once again.
So should I continue?
Yes, please do.
Then should I? Okay, a strong state is one that can count on willing compliance. All rulers desire legitimacy, the conviction among bureaucrats and citizens that they are under an obligation to obey. Yes? I'm not getting you.
Please, let's mute our microphones. We're giving the other person hard time. Dennis, can you make Dennis Musmenta, can you make me the host? Of the host? Dennis, do you know you're the host? Please,
I think I should.
Those whose microphones
I think I should just continue. Let me continue.
Yes, continue. We are listening.
Yes. could you mute your phone so that we're not disturbed? And then Emerald, please look for a quiet place.
Okay, then let me continue.
Emerald, you're saying you're continuing, we are waiting.
So a strong state is one that can count on willing compliance. A ruler's desire legitimacy, the conviction among bureaucrats and citizens that they are under an obligation to obey those occupying certain authority positions. Relatively few governments, however, achieve a firm moral basis for their rule. If legitimacy is fragile, willing compliance must derive from pragmatic considerations. People consent because they believe that a particular government or policy advise their interests. This explains why a ruler surreptitiously a strategic region or tribe. He hopes to gain generalized support among that group. Beyond that, he buys instrumental allegiance from influential individuals and groups through patronage. Yet the greater or regime's independence upon mercenary support, the greater is its vulnerability to disaffection in the event of an economic downturn. The other basis for rule is, of course, COSAID compliance. All government, to be sure, depend from this time on some form of cohesion. The application of this may fall to the courts, the army, the police, or prisons. But some governments command so little legitimacy and are so ineffectual at handling out the spoils that they depend heavily on force. This unstable and ineffective mode of governing is seen in many African countries.
With independence and the usual decomposition of the at colonial front, African states suffered a crisis of legitimacy. Politicians and people in general grew preoccupied and prevent sectional advantage. To what principle could leaders now appeal for solidarity and sacrifice? Ideologies that elsewhere facilitate consent, liberalism and socialism have no roots to socialism in Africa, and the traditional legitimacy of pre-colonial politics was largely irrelevant in the culturally heterogeneous modern state. The result was the emergence of personal rule based chiefly upon 25 personal loyalty, patron-client linkage, and coercion. If Pan-African burgers and a gift economy, then liberal democracy might have provided a moral basis for governance. A strong biology might have championed individual liberty and constitutionalism, and the Westminster-style constitution might have then held the value of society, or at least a significant portion of it, but this wasn't known. Thank you.
Continue reading. Yes, could you continue reading?
Can I catch from there?
Yes.
All right. To be. Instead, colonial rulers, in partnership with leading Africans, forged constitutions that had no basis in local political cultures than the pageant of the limitation of governmental power, the protection of civil liberties, the principles of representative and responsible government to but in country after following evaded or abolished these safeguards. The story have been different. Democratic values may have existed in traditional societies, but in a much older guise and more environment. These new societies, major politicians, in fact derived from a truly autocratic epoch. Colonial government took the form of authorization administration apparatus, which is powerful governor at the helm. True decolonization entailed the cautious devotion of power and responsibility to increasingly representative assemblies. But this whole process was brief, rarely lasting longer than 10 to 15 years and often less. Social values could not make the radical adjustment to constitutionalism in this short time, especially since that historical proponent of liberal democracy, the bar met the popular resistance in dismantling democratic institutions. Whatever the specific route,
Authoritarianism.
so authoritarianism was generally the outcome. Over half of the regimes in 1984 were military or quasi-military. In practice, it is difficult to distinguish between these forms, as army-supported government often deck themselves out civilian. Dominant regimes range from relatively benign, such as Togo and Guinea, to relatively brutal in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Zaire.
Thank you.
For the message. Welcome. So,
okay.
I think, can I continue with the question?
Yeah, I could just make a few comments before that. Most of us, the problem with us is we join in late and then we come and disorganize the other people in the chat with very many questions. And then some of you, when you take the host rights, you don't want to give them back to the teacher. And yet you're not using them well. thank you so much for reading. Just because of time, I'm going to make a few comments. The second reading, we shall be using it to answer questions. For example, you need to ask yourself, usually when you're in a rush, I encourage that you begin reading the questions first. The questions have a summary of what the book is, the passage is about. For example, let's read number C of the summary. They always say, in not more than 100 words, summarize how rulers govern in circumstance of personal rule. So if I'm to ask you, what do you think this passage is about? What have you understood in this passage? Let us try to share very fast. What have you understood in this passage? You'd expect that done more than twice, at least to make sure you read more than twice for you to be able to understand. So that's why I sent it early thinking someone was going to read for us consistently. So when you look at it, who is sharing? Edrina, are you on?
Yes.
Is Edrina on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can take us. You can take us back to page 1. Take us back to the first page. I think I'll leave you to keep to share the screen.
I have.
Oh, wait a little bit. There's just no more network delays. All right, but let us discuss. What has anyone understood? Or whatever little you have understood, can we begin from there? Those who have understood something, you can put up your hand, then we try to share what you have understood barely. And then we start from there. These passages will never be simple, if you are negative in the mind. So we need to keep reading. This is what most of us don't like, reading. Techno L9.
It's all about political rules.
Political rules. That was very brief. In A-level now, we expect that you're going to expound. You're going to at least say something more than political rule. And could you tell us what you think? I remember, can you mute your microphone? I mute you, unmute. I mute you, unmute. Trivia Worth, could you mute your microphone? And leave it. Bira, what have you understood in this passage? Yes, Bira?
African politics.
African politics. Now, if you look at the summary question, it should be able to guide you. The person who was sharing the screen does not. I cannot see any. Okay, here. Let's look at the second passage, the second paragraph. Bira, please mute. Let's look at the second paragraph. They say a strong state is the one that can count on the willing compliance. All rulers desire legitimacy in their conviction. Now you've removed that. I'm okay with page 1. Okay, I think I should just share. Bira, can I share? Can you stop sharing? Bira, can you stop sharing?
Okay.
But thank you so much. You've helped us when I was off. look at the summary question, and the summary question can guide you into what the passage is about. Anyone who has seen the summary question and can use that knowledge, the summary question is a good guess about. Yes, people's hands are up. Techno, I don't know, you answer something, your microphone is on. Cloris Rachel, could you tell us what you think the passage is about?
Yeah, well, I think the passage is about how rulers govern in circumstances of personal rule.
Thank you so much. So they are trying to tell you how rulers, in fact, that is one of the titles, the substantive title we can use, how rulers govern in personal rule. Are we together? Because if you look at some of these things, what they say here, that we have already considered some common strategies to use or neutralize ethnicity, but build the economic power. That is not our interest. That is the a state is one that can count on the willing compliance. All rulers, what do they do? In conviction among bureaucrats. If legitimacy is fragile, willing compliance must derive from pragmatic. People consent because of that. This explains why rulers, what do the rulers do? Look at what the rulers do when they fail to attract people's attention. That's what we are interested in. So that is a good beginning. That's new. If you can take a look at it. If I pick this, but if you look at this summary question, you can be able to see what in not more than 100 words, how rulers govern in circumstances of personal rule. So you as a student, you're supposed to look at that to begin deriving. So how do they govern in personal rule? If we are to reread this passage while picking points, for example, how would it look like? Are we together? How would it look like in terms of personal rule? That's what I expected people to come up with. How do people rule in terms of personal rule? Chigongo.
So, teacher, I'm not getting the screen. Someone should help me and share.
Chigongo.
I'm seeing nothing on the screen. Someone should help me and share.
Chigongo.
I'm not getting the question.
The screen is actually.
Yeah, the screen is not showing.
The screen is being shared. I think it's network. I don't even know how to help you guys. It's a bit draining this side, so it's. The question is, what have you understood in this passage? Oh, goodness. Now, what I'm going to encourage us, I think network is not. What I'm going to encourage us, I think network is
Can someone do something on this network?
So we are not getting anything.
Teacher, I think something is wrong. Okay, we've got it now. Thank you.
Teacher.
Yes. Can you now see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. I want Dennis quiet, and it is the host. Dennis. Usimenta. Weje, please, can we mute our microphones? Weje Harkins. Weje,
please let's first mute ourselves, then change back the role of the host. Because I'm saying it's David who is the host instead of Sir.
Okay, let us begin from our question 1. Suggest a suitable title for the passage. Whoever is admin can help us to mute people. People are making a lot of noise. Bira, can you please mute your microphone? There's a lot of feedback.
I unmute. It's already unmuted.
I'm saying mute it. To mute is to silence it because there's a lot of feedback. The same with Redmi and Rina and Wedges. Wege Harkins, can you mute your mic?
Guys, please mute your microphone.
Barezi bebusaze.